Thank you, and thank you, Dean Myers, for having me, as well as Assistant Dean Bogard, who I believe is in the back. And congratulations, Alex, you did a beautiful job. Thank you. So we're now actually 200,000 people in over 150 countries, so we're growing. Thank you. It's such an honor to speak to such an impressive group of graduates. I'm a Miami Farmer grad myself, as you heard, so I know how much hard work went into getting you here today. So class of 2015, could you please give yourselves one more round of applause? I've been really fortunate to have traveled all over the world, and I have to say, every time I step foot on this campus, I'm reminded that this is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I first came here when I was 14 years old, and it was love at first sight. And you know, 25 years ago, I sat exactly where you're sitting. I'll never forget how much more special that day was because my parents and all 4 of my grandparents were here with me. They are and were such vital members of my A-team. Your A-team are your people in your life who give you strength. They rally around you when times are tough, and they make you feel like you can accomplish anything. I can still vividly remember my graduation weekend. My friends and I were hanging out on the porch of our house, Board of Education. And for those of you who aren't students here, that's board, spelled B-O-R-E-D, of education. And all of a sudden, we see this huge 1984 white, long Lincoln Continental slowly lumbering around the corner from High Street onto Talawanda. It was going about 10 miles an hour under the speed limit. The thing looked like a cruise ship coming into port. My friend said, "Hey, check out that car." It was at that moment I realized it was my grandparents. And they had arrived 2 days early for graduation. It's true. They had made the trip not just across the state, but all the way from Florida. About a 20-hour drive for you and me. I think it took them 30. And my other 2 grandparents were in the back seat. My grandparents are no longer with us, but I still have an A-team, and some of them are here today, my husband, my son, and my niece. And your A-team is here too. So to all the moms and dads, brothers and sisters, guardians, grandparents, friends, and professors who have encouraged and supported you through the years to get you here, we salute and honor all that you have done to make today possible. Please join me in thanking them. Thank you. Transitioning from this incredibly nurturing and supportive institution at Miami to the start of your careers means one thing. The makeup of your A-team is going to change. Mentors at work are going to sub for professors. Work colleagues will sub for classmates. But don't just change your A-team, expand it. And as you put the new A-team roster together, I urge you to include people who are different from you, people who think differently and look differently. And it's only natural that you might feel a bit apprehensive about that. But surrounding yourself with a smart, supportive, and diverse A-team is one of the best career moves you will ever make. It's a way to continue to be successful. And keep in mind that this is a give and take. You want to be the type of person that other people seek out to be on their A-teams as well. And when I suggest putting together a diverse team, I don't just mean gender and race, but also different abilities, working styles, thinking styles, LGBT, cultural backgrounds, and even family backgrounds. Diverse teams often feel bumpier, and they can actually be more uncomfortable to work in. But research shows that because of this bumpiness from divergent points of view, that diverse teams actually deliver more accurate work more of the time, they're more likely to innovate for their customers and to expand into new markets. A few months after I left Miami in 1990, I began my career at EY, then Ernst & Young, in New York City. I was actually one of those people who felt different and out of place. In fact, I remember calling my mom on my first day from my cube and saying, "Mom, I really don't fit in here." So unlike my first days on this campus, my first week on the job was not one of those love at first sight experiences. Before I even started at EY, I felt like I was at a disadvantage. All the other people who started with me already had prestigious internships at EY and other firms. Most had already started the CPA exam, something, to be candid, I hadn't even considered yet. And all of them had advanced degrees by the time we started. Some of my soon-to-be colleagues were so well set that they went backpacking through Europe the summer before we started. I didn't even know what that was. I spent the whole summer working for my family's business so that I could afford 2 nice business suits and an apartment with all of my friends. In the career foot race, I wasn't just lagging behind. At the time, I had felt I had already been lapped. But I did catch up. I got my CPA done, and I eventually went to grad school. But most importantly, I eventually stopped worrying about all the things that I couldn't control. For instance, you can't control the state of the economy, or who your boss is, or even some of the projects that you get assigned at work. But do you want to know what you can control? You can control your enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the passion that you bring to your work every day. In fact, Harvard researcher Sean Aker did a study that showed that 75% of career success and personal happiness is based on your level of enthusiasm. The other 25% is where you went to school, your grades, and what you learned there. So thanks to this great Miami faculty, you're likely already covered on the 25%. Your professional toolkit will end up being filled with lots of skills and attributes over time. Think of enthusiasm as your Swiss Army knife, the tool that can help you to excel at just about any task and help you overcome many different challenges. Enthusiasm means eagerly raising your hand when your company needs someone to spearhead a project and saying, "I'll take that on. I'll take that on." Those are the 4 little words that have been key for me, and I might suggest should be on the tip of your tongue once you start working. Sometimes it may mean confronting a challenge that deep down scares you a little bit. It means jumping outside of your comfort zone. But this is how you go about gathering diverse knowledge and experiences. It's how you get better and better at your work, and it's how you build a reputation as a credible leader. As you go out into the workplace, becoming aware of your own biases is crucial, because we all have preferences and biases, good and bad, and it's human nature to make snap judgments and to label people. But do yourself a favor, that little label maker that we all carry around in our heads, leave it at home. Don't bring it to work with you. The majority of times I've pinned a label on someone, I've been dead wrong. Like the time I labeled Neil. He was my cube mate that first year at EY. Right from the start, I had Neil pegged as Little Mr. Perfect. He had perfect scores on his CPA exam. He was a savvy native New Yorker, straight A student, perfect display of diligence on the job. Even on our first week, he knew what industry he wanted to work in. He even knew what clients he wanted to serve. And in fact, sometimes when I would leave at the end of the day, he would say, "Going on another date tonight? You know, you really should go home and study for the CPA exam." Well, I think sometimes he was probably right. But I'm so glad I didn't take his advice on one of those nights, because I wouldn't have expanded my A-team to meet my husband. Well, back to Neil. He was a big reason why I felt I didn't fit in. I remember calling my mother and saying, "Mom, this guy is so annoying. He's such an overachiever, and I'm really intimidated." But all she said was, "Be open, Karyn, because you never know." Well, fast forward a couple of years, Neil became part of my A-team, and I became part of his. I wish I had known then what I later discovered, that one of the sources of my insecurity The fact that I was different ended up being actually an advantage in my career. I was open, unstructured, and always enthusiastic. So as you leave here today to embark on the next leg of your exciting journey, realize that some of the people who will make up your A teams of the future may at first seem like unlikely candidates, but don't be too quick to scratch them off your list. And keep raising your hand. Just because you've left the classroom doesn't mean you should stop raising your hand. Take on extra assignments, strive to over-deliver, and always with enthusiasm. And if you go on to have a spouse, a partner, or a family of your own, bring that same level of enthusiasm home with you, demonstrating an eagerness to shoulder responsibility, whether it comes to co-parenting or even basic household chores. It's one of the great building blocks of a true partnership and of even more personal happiness. And when all else fails, call home. I still do. In fact, some of the best business advice I've gotten is from my dad, who's been retired now for 15 years. So don't ever hesitate picking up your phone and asking your family for advice. It's been very special for me to have taken a walk down the Miami memory lane and to have been part of your big weekend. And as nervous as I was when Dean Meyer's invitation arrived to come here and speak with you, I'm so glad that I responded with those 4 little words I've never regretted saying, "Sure, I'll take that on." Wishing you all love and honor in everything you do. Thank you.